Okay, Ms. Tanya, since you're here, we'll let you go first.
Thank you, thank you. I do not have anything for the agenda for next week. I do want to congratulate our band students who represented Birchfield at the TSSBDA Junior Band Clinic last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. Had some great participation there. Just want to mention those kids' names real quick. Curtis Jarrett, Errol Belmore, Nikki Knutson, Gracie Sexton, Serenity Phillips, Aaliyah Brosnan, Taylor Drinkard, and Pacey Hill all placed in their instrument. Now, this was through all of East Tennessee. They were over in Oak Ridge and Maryville. So I was so very proud of them. And I just want to thank Mr. Hunt for getting that. Our band program is growing by leaps and bounds, and just the middle school band program in general throughout the county has been growing. So very appreciative of that. And speaking of Mr. Hunt, I'm going to congratulate him and say thank you for putting together our Scholars Bowl tournament that happened the month of February. Birchfield placed second in the Scholars Bowl, so just very proud of those students. And I want to thank Ms. Rector and the high school for allowing that to happen at Scott High. That was a great thing for those kids, all of those volunteers. It just went really well. Soccer does start Monday. Of course, the rain starts Monday. So that's how that normally happens with our soccer program. But we do play at home on Monday night against Robbins. Appreciate Ms. Stanley for allowing some of her girls that want to play soccer. So they're coming down to Birchfield to play. So we do have some of her folks, and then we have a homeschool student that is also playing. So I think I have 20 boys and 22 girls. So I just want to thank all those parents for allowing those kids to participate. Student athletes work very hard. Parents and grandparents, everybody works very hard to get them to their practices. So I just want to thank everybody for that. And I don't have anything else unless you have something for me. Thank you.
Melissa needs to go. She's got to go to Clinton, if that's okay.
Ms. Rector, do you want to go next?
I do. Thank you so much. I've got to get on the road to a ball game. I don't have anything for the agenda, but just to give you all some updates. Today we did host the our annual ACT day for 11th graders, and our 10th graders also were able to take the pre-ACT. That is, so those were the only students we had on campus today, 11th grade and 10th grade. That's a full day of testing. It's about a 4-hour exam for those students, and just want to really thank them. It's a lot of rule following, and it's a lot of hurry up and then sit and wait. It's difficult to manage in a school day, but they did a great job, and really want to thank them. We were able to get those students out and back home just a little bit early today as a reward for their excellent behavior. But those tests are graduation requirements. We did have just a handful of students who missed that today, a couple of those due to quarantine. So we are working with ACT to schedule makeup exams and get those students tested, because again, those exams are graduation requirements. So working on that. That was today. We do want to offer our congratulations to our girls basketball team and Coach Jake Wright, assistant coaches Morgan Boyd and Emily Brooks. Want to thank them and congratulate them on a successful season. We hated to see that come to an end. They'd certainly been a lot of fun to watch this year, had a lot of success. So just want to thank them for all their hard work and time and effort, and congratulations to the girls. Our boys are still in play at the region tournament tonight at Clinton at 7:30. So hurry up and finish this meeting and then get in the car and drive to Clinton. We need all of the support that we can get there. So if you can't do that, there are several avenues that you can watch that live online. So check out one of those. Our spring sports, boys soccer, baseball, softball, and track are all deep into practices, and believe that we start with those game schedules next week. Boys soccer, I believe, starts with its play day on March the 12th and kicks off those spring sports. And then it gets pretty rapid fire after that. So spring sports are well underway. Again, as the board, we were able to discuss with you guys at length a couple of weeks ago. We did go ahead and release that announcement of our temporary public closure for the museum. Again, just a reminder to everyone that is temporary. And it is just for those times of public access. Again, lots of good things that are going on there. And if any word has gotten to anyone that it's anything other than temporary, I'll simply say that's just not true. It is temporary. We are trying to work through some safety and maintenance issues at this point. And as soon as that happens, again, we'll be back in business, but want to just take the time in order to do that and do that safely. And that's all that I have, unless you all have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jeffers with Robbins.
Hello, everyone. We are still working on our field goal post for the field house, and I think it's just a weather concern right now. If we get dry weather, we could probably get those put up. And soccer season starts next week for us. And really, we're ready for this long haul of March as we prep for TCAP. We're about 31 days away from TCAP, and that's what mode we're in right now at Robbins. So I don't have anything for the agenda unless you all have something for me.
Thank you. Ms. Stanley with Winfield.
Hello. Our 4th and 5th graders went to BizTown today. They had a great time, and this is an excellent opportunity for our students to assume roles in business and government and get some real world life experiences. So we're grateful for them to be able to do that. Also, thanks to Kathy West and Alqui for doing our dental screenings and Brent for setting those up. A reminder that parent-teacher conferences will be Monday, March the 14th from 4 until 7. And this is Dr. Seuss Week for all of us at the elementary school. Today was Green Eggs and Ham Day at Winfield. Miss Amanda Massengill started our day off with the green eggs and ham breakfast. And I wanted to be there in person tonight. That didn't work out for us, but I did have my green eggs, and I don't know if you can see my ham right here, but we did have these special glasses for school today, and we did all wear green. So I wanted to show those to you tonight. I wanted to be there to show you in front of my husband, but you know, like I say, that didn't work out. So I'll just let him see me on the camera. But I hope that you received the email I sent with our door decorations. We have some fantastic staff who did those for us. Sometimes I'm even amazed at what all they can do. So I'm really proud of them. You're welcome to come up and read this week. If you can work a half hour into your schedules, we'd love to have you. I think Miss Esther is on tap for us tomorrow. So Miss Esther, we will see you then, I hope. And any of the rest of you that would like to come, please feel free. And thank you to everybody. We don't have anything for the agenda.
Hey, are you in Hawaii?
That looks like Winfield to me.
I wish when I put on my glasses, I feel like I can just be anywhere. And to warn you, tomorrow it's thing 1 and 2 day, and you know, I'm getting ready. So please come up and join us tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be one fun day. Thank you.
Okay, what about Mr. Cash? Is he with us?
He got sick today. He was
Okay.
sick. I don't know if he's on there or not.
I don't see him. Okay, what about Miss Hamilton?
No, she's not there.
Okay, and Miss Goodman?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Of course, I would be following Sharon after all of that. She's getting to have a lot of fun.
Where's your glasses, Donna?
I'm glad to get me some. You take care of that for me. I do have several dates, and I know that Miss Debbie sends you all the board calendars and stuff like that of what's going on. I do want to say these because we do have several parents who watch our work sessions and board meetings. Dental screenings will take place tomorrow, and we want to thank everyone, Miss Westbrand, everybody who has a hand in getting that set up. Our soccer, like everyone else, begins next week. Our book fair will begin March 11th and end on March 18th. Our sixth graders are going to Biztown tomorrow. If you have never had the opportunity to attend that, I encourage you to do so. That is probably one of the neatest things I have ever seen our middle schoolers do. It is a lot of fun. It's extremely educational. So if you ever get a chance, just drop by, just step in there, watch what they're doing, and it just takes a second, but it's very interesting. I'm going to repeat some of the things that the other principals have said. We have parent-teacher conferences March 14th from 4 to 7. We encourage all the parents to come out and speak with those teachers. Our next early release day is March 16th, that following Wednesday. Buses will leave Huntsville Middle at 12:15, and pickups are at 12. We have our beta initiation for our new inductees scheduled for March the 25th at 1:30 in our gym. So we invite everyone to come watch those new inductees get inducted into the beta club. Cheer tryouts will begin March 28th. And right after that, we go into spring break, which is April the 4th to the 8th. 8th. I do want to go ahead and mention TCAP testing because that is right around the corner. That will be here before we know it. And so the parents know we're going to go ahead and start getting notes out, letting everyone know that begins on April the 18th, and getting, kids to bed, making sure they've got breakfast and all those things that come with getting ready for TCAP. I have nothing else unless you have something for me.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Paulette with food service.
Yes, I'm here. Everything is going well with food service, as we have been doing, never knowing sometimes what we're going to get, but we're continuing to manage to meet meal requirements. The only thing that I have is for the agenda is to renew the Jenny O's turkey processing bid for next year. And this will be the last year we'll probably be able to renew this, and then I'll rebid for next year. But trying to do as much processing as possible so that I know I can get those items and lock in my prices. So I would like to renew that. I sent Miss Sharon an email, so hopefully she got it. And it's there on the agenda, but that's all I have unless y'all have something for me.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Linda, do you want to go next?
Okay, we had pre-K and kindergarten registration all day last Friday. We still have spaces. The only classroom that is totally full right now with 20 students is Fairview, and they do have 20, but out there, if parents have children who are for, on, or by August the 15th, we'll keep accepting registration forms and applications for our pre-K program for next year. If we have space, after we recruit all the 4-year-olds that we can have, then it's possible we can take some 3s. So if you are a parent with a 3-year-old by August the 15th on, or by August 15th, you can fill out a registration form and be put on the waiting list to see if we may have space. So that's something kind of new. I know we've had a couple of classes that have been 3s in the past, but they are opening it up just a little bit more than they got a pre-K grant in yesterday. And so that was a big relief to get that done. Hopefully it'll be good. Then some of the principals have certainly been talking about testing TCAP. The principals and I had TCAP training all day long last Friday out at Technology in preparation for that. The dates, I don't understand why the state does these things, but for example, grades 2, 3, and 5 start April the 18th, and they have to be finished by April the 29th, so that's 2 weeks. Grades 6 through 8 start the 18th, and they do not have to be finished till May the 3rd. Then the high school computer-based EOC start April the 18th and have until May the 6th to be done. So, you know, used to in the past, everybody had the same testing date pretty much, and we had, you know, plenty of time. So this year we're going to have to make sure we get schedules out so everybody knows. And then we do have the MOS, the alternate math and ELA, which is March 14th is this month to April the 29th. So all kinds of testing coming up that we have to prepare for. And then the other thing, building testing coordinators. Each school has a building testing coordinator, and those principals, usually principals or instructional coaches, have a 3.5-hour training, either, and there's a choice of dates, a webinar, a visual, a virtual webinar, Thursday, March 17th, Wednesday, March 23rd, or Tuesday, March 29th. And I did send that out today, as well as online training courses for our testing, our teachers who test, our test administrators. So all kinds of testing stuff coming up. The teachers eligible for tenure for 21-22 did look these out. The principals and they sent me their list that they felt like did qualify, and I did check, and they did. What they have to do is to have taught at least 5 years and get a level of effectiveness of 4s and 5s for the last 2 years of the probationary license. So you can see that list there. I guess I could read them all. Fairview, Shelley Cash, and Brittany Young. Huntsville Elementary, Laura Lawson, Natalie Smith, Tara Orrick. Huntsville Middle, Brogan Doppel, Elizabeth Duncan, Marcus Neal, Rhonda Sexton, Leslie Slavin, and Mark Watson. And then Robbins, Elizabeth Carroll, and Scott High, Austin Ben Allen, and Chuck Jeffers. So these will be presented to you through there. And then one other thing that I did want to mention, and Miss Amanda's going to tell you a little bit more about it, but when we had the summer Reading 360 training this past summer, the 2-week training, the one virtual and then the one in person all week long, then that gave us the opportunity to gain $40,000 for the next 2 years for training. So we do have that, and it's called the Early Literacy Network, provides districts with additional funding and support for the implementation of foundational skills and knowledge building curricula in pre-K through 2nd grade. So we will have the opportunity to participate in that starting in like June 1, going through the end of December. So that is an opportunity for additional PD, and Miss Amanda will talk to you a little bit about that to approve that, put that on the agenda to approve. And that's everything I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Miss Amanda.
First of all, district plan, we submitted that yesterday. Got that checked off our list. It's lengthy in pages, so I'm going to email you guys a copy so you'll have that. The federal application opens today, so we will start working on that. Just for your information, you've got copies, looks like this. This is update on funding for ESSER 1. You can see we've got $4 left, and I think that's Landmark's money there. So we've spent all of it. ESSER 2, we've spent 52% of those funds, and then ESSER 3, we're just at 4%, but we have till 24 to spend ESSER 3. Also, let's see, items for the agenda. I need you guys to accept the bids for cabinets. That's for the paid with through the ELC grant. That's for Family Resource and several nurses' offices through the county. Amendment 7 here, general purpose budget amendment. I had brought in the Tennessee All-Corps grant on GP. Somebody from the state emailed me and told me it's a state grant, and then I found out that it's federal grant. So what I'm doing is just moving it from state over to federal. So you'll see that on both amendments there. Amendment 8 on federal grant, you'll see where I'm bringing in the Tennessee All-Corps grant, and then the $80,000 that Miss Linda was referring to, the Early Literacy Network grant. I think that's $40,000, and then $40,000 again, so $80,000 total. And then you have a copy of that budget too, and that just goes to the vendor who we're going through, and that's TNTP. And that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions for me.
Thank you. Miss Debbie.
So we had our juvenile detention center monitoring on February the 2nd. We had our follow-up monitoring, I think it was like February the 16th. We had one finding. So we was able to get that paperwork in to satisfy that. And so our monitoring for that is closed. So we met all the requirements. February the 24th, we had our SPDIC training at Technology with the pre-K teachers, an all-day training. I think that went really well. A lot of good information for our pre-K teachers. Like Miss Amanda said, we finished up that LEA plan, which was a lot of work, and that got submitted yesterday evening. This coming Monday, March the 6th, I will get a list of students' names. Just going from one thing to the next, we will be going into our file folder review monitoring for our special ed students. We will have 10 days to check those folders, to get everything uploaded and submit to the state to see, if we meet requirements for our special ed IEPs and the folders, eligibilities and all that stuff. The MSAA opens on March the 14th. That is for some of the special ed students that are in that CDC classroom. And of course, it does go to April the 29th. So I'm in the process of trying to set that program up, that platform. My special ed teachers that administer that MSAA, they have to take a test themselves and score 80 before they can administer that to the students. So we're working on that. Then we will have more SPDIC training on March the 24th. That's going to be dealing with assessment, and then that should finish up our training with this SPDIC grant. And then, of course, this month has been a busy month with one of the school psychologists out on medical leave. I've been trying to cover for her, so I've been just about in every school doing eligibility meetings, re-eval meetings, and IEP meetings. I do have one thing for the agenda. It is time again to bid for related services. It rolls around quickly. So I'm going to ask permission from you all to ask finance to bid for our OT, PT, for our speech services, and also for vision services. And that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shannon.
We'll start off by issuing some thank yous. First off, surveyor Jim Reed. Jim worked with the school system for the surveying of the project at Fairview Elementary Schools. Knew Jim. Many of the surveying companies that we had talked to were 3 to 4 months out. Jim, however, as soon as the project came available, he acted on it very quickly and got the survey done. It's in the hands of the architect right now to keep the project moving on schedule. Also, we'd like to thank the Scott County Road Department, Road Superintendent Kelvin King, County Commissioner David Jeffers, and County Mayor Jeff Tibbles for working to replace some culverts at the high school soccer field. The old culverts were clogged up and had to be replaced. These men always work great with the school system, got these culverts replaced at no cost. Also would like to thank the South Scott County Volunteer Fire Department for helping us out with a fire watch at Huntsville Elementary, Huntsville Middle School on February the 24th. The fire alarm system was non-functional and a fire watch was needed. The South Scott County Volunteer Fire Department and fireman Wendell Smithers came and assisted us keep the students, faculty, and staff safe until we could get that alarm back up and going. Also, now moving to CTE. I've been working on spending the FY22 Perkins application. The last board meeting we had, budget revision number 1, we've got all of that money spent. Hopefully, it's not much left at this point to spend out. Now it's just a stressful thing with federal dollars, and anybody that deals with this can tell you, in today's world, we can order something in February, and then we just have to hope and pray that it comes in by the June 30th deadline to be able to meet those federal requirements. So fingers crossed on that. We are still working on the FY23 Perkins local application for next year's budget. The deadline has been extended to April the 13th by the state. I think that they're kind of thinking there may be some more funds, hopefully, coming into CTE, so they kind of wanted to put the brakes on the March 1st deadline. Been working on the Cte Follow-Up Report. That is a report that is where Mr. Murley and myself contact students who graduated from Scott High last year to find out where they are in their career and education status now, and report those results back to the state's eTiger website. That deadline is March the 11th. Also been working on continuing the spending of the THEC, Tennessee Higher Education Commission Spark 3.0 funds. A lot of equipment I mentioned to you last month, some of it that had been ordered. A lot of it is coming into our facilities, both at Scott High School and TCAT 09 Huntsville. And we also have three bids, out right now to vendors. When those come back in and we can go through the process to spend that money, we'll be in excess of 95% of that 25-month grant already spent and in the hands of our teachers and students. So very proud of that. Maintenance side. Maintenance crews have been working very hard to keep up, obviously, with the requests as they come in. Some of the bigger projects that they've been working on, we've finishing up right now, just in time. The Birchfield Elementary's new scoreboard on their athletic field. Hopefully it'll be up and ready for their first soccer game. Looks very, very good. Also working with the fire marshal report findings. For the most part, that's going very, very well. We was able to install and get operational a new scoreboard at the Scott High School soccer field. Also, the seating in the Scott High Field House film room has been reattached and looks very, very good. If you ever get the opportunity to go in and look at some of the work in there, it's outstanding. Also, the maintenance guys have been working on new canopy lights, the awnings, if you will, for Fairview Elementary School. Got that up and going. And I went to a meeting somewhere in Knoxville one morning a few months ago and noticed how dark it was sometimes in the mornings there. So the guys went in and they've put all of the fixtures and stuff up, and Greg Claiborne had come by the other morning and said it was outstanding. Looks great. Huntsville Middle School's canopy awning lights going into the gymnasium is up and working. We've also got the materials to finish that at Birchfield Elementary, Winfield Elementary, and Robbins Elementary's canopy lights for their awnings as well. Also, some of the other projects that we are working on. Just an update, the football field Scott highlights that are coming in, those will be on the ground in our facility Monday, March the 7th, so next Monday. We've got Highland Steel set up to take the old lights down and install the new ones. And again, we want to make sure and thank Nathan Cron and Highland Steel Erectors for donating that work, materials, know-how to get that done. Once the assemblies are in place, we've got Mr. Jeff Vaughn and High Point Electric contracted to come and get everything complete with the wiring and get it operational. And it should be a sight to behold whenever those things are up and working. I look forward to it, and it'll be neat. The next thing that we wanted to mention to you, talked with Alan Hill about the Fairview Elementary Gym project just before the meeting started. And he asked if we could go ahead and request an agenda item for the plans for the Fairview Elementary School gym, for the site plans. He has got the survey in hand. He's working on those plans, and he said that he would have those here at the board office no later than Monday for the board members to come in and review. He said he would be available to talk on the telephone if anyone had any questions or any suggestions on how to modify, change, or do anything like that to those plans. If you're comfortable, we would appreciate you just considering putting it on the agenda for an approve the plan or no type agenda item. So that's all I've got, unless anyone has got any questions.
Sounds like you've been busy.
Yes, ma'am.
And I apologize for my son calling me so many times. He needs his mom. Okay, who have I missed out?
Great.
Yeah, Greg.
Don't really have anything for the agenda. We're still rolling out laptops and fixing the ones that come in. We're now to the point that we're cycling laptops for first, fifth, and ninth graders. So that's going pretty well. Some of them come back with stickers and stuff on them, and the guys are sitting there learning how to best, get that gunk off of them. We've wrapped up installing the new active panels in classrooms at Winfield and are now moving to Birchfield. That process is pretty big, like time consuming, but so far we're having good luck with it. And those that have gotten them seem to really enjoy them. So hopefully we would like to be done by the time summer rolls around, but it just depends on what other things come up and hit us. Other than that, it's just pretty much status quo.
Busy.
It's a lot of, having that much money to spend and then actually implementing all of it, that's it's pretty daunting, so.
Thank you, Greg. And I see that Miss Hamilton was with us a minute ago.
It's not now.
Not now.
Not now?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. I guess you will be next, Mr. Hall.
Miss Debbie go?
Yeah.
Miss Debbie's go, okay. All right, thank you. First of all, items for the agenda. I'd like to approve the following, overnight out-of-state trips. The Sky High Beta Club, March 20th to the 22nd, Nashville, Tennessee. Sky High School Scope, the Scope Conference, March 15th, 2022, Nashville, Tennessee. And the Cafeteria Managers and Central Office Nutrition Staff, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, June 14th to the 17th. Also, the Transportation Department for the TAPT Conference in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, June 5th to the 8th. Also like to approve the first reading of board policies, policy number 6.206. And also on your agenda this time will be the director's evaluation. Okay, and that's for the agenda items. Okay, the first item I'd like to talk about tonight, of course, I know we've had some discussion amongst principals and some of the staff, and you guys have got phone calls about concerning our budget for the upcoming school year. Let me say, last year we were held harmless. We went on the 2020 numbers at that time. Even though our enrollment was down last year, we were held harmless, and we were able to put everyone back in place, back to work. Since the first year of COVID, we are down on the EIS system about 335 kids. And is that number correct, Mr. Bond, right at that?
Yeah.
That's pre-COVID from where we are now for the past 2 years. We get some preliminary stuff in right now that Ms. Amanda has, and we've looked at some stuff. And it's still, we have some unknown. If we're not going to be held harmless. I will say that. I think it's kind of what we're getting. So there will be probably a reduction in our budget. I can't tell you exactly how much right now. When it's looking estimated at $335, $6,100 per kid, that's $2.2 million. Okay. When you look at that, automatically you're going to think, well, there has to be cuts. And there is. I don't think it's going to be exactly 2.2 what we're looking at, Ms. Mann. I'm not saying that correctly when I'm talking right now. It's not going to be that. So actually, it's going to be a little better than what we thought. But there's still going to have to be some place in the budget that we will need to cut. Our job, as always, and since I've been in this position for 11 years, is to try to make our workforce as strong and as vibrant as possible to meet in the budget. And that's to keep as many people employed as possible. Because number one, when we're employed, we're doing well in the work in our workforce, and we're helping out Scott County as a whole. We are the largest employment agency in Scott County. So we take pride in that, and we manage that, and we like the fact that we are able to keep people working. Now, when you get a reduction and reducing your budget, that's not always can be the case. But as we are committed to keep every position we can, some things will be inevitable that we can't. And let me say this much. I know there's rumors floating around. There has never been one word from my mouth to anyone stating that this will be cut or that will be cut or part-time here, part-time there. We don't know exactly where we are right now. And until we get numbers that are concrete, until we get numbers that we can work with, until we can sit down with you guys, then we start looking at the budget. Because at the end of the day, you guys oversee our budget. We bring this to you, okay? And we're going to be looking for guidance. We're going to be looking for everything as we go through to see exactly where we could make some possibilities, some cuts, and some things there. Now, can the workforce decrease? It could. I will not even say that it won't. I would be lying if I said that. And I will not. But I will say this much. We are committed, and I'll say it again, committed to keeping as many spots as we can. We have great teachers in the system, and we want to keep all teachers if possible. But when you're funded on numbers, and numbers strictly, guys, it comes down to where you have to meet that budget. And people ask me, why can't you use the reserve for the budget? Well, the budget's reoccurring. If you take $200,000 from reserve, put it in the budget, the next year, if you can be short again, but that $200,000 still got to go every year from then on. And in no time, you have no reserve. And your reserve is for those emergency situations or things we've been able to do to enhance our system and to make some improvements in our facilities and do those things without putting the burden and the levy on the taxpayer. So that's why we don't use reserves for funding or positions, or those type of things. I've said this many times. We do know that when the governor's new budget comes through in 23, 24, we're going to get a big increase. But that increase is going to be from where our numbers are now, not from where they were. Okay? So the increase for next year still may be less than where we are right now. And in that increase, all that money, there's going to be raises. It's going to be earmarked specifically for raises. And people's going to say, well, how can you give raises and cut? Because it's going to be a line item in that budget that we get from the BEP was exactly earmarked for teacher raises. I do believe that the minimum salary is going to increase next year. From what I'm hearing, from 38 to 40,000, and that could be wrong. Okay, so that is a possibility that happens. Even though we're going to get a reduction in our budget total, we're still going to get a place in that BEP to increase the salary. Now, that may be confusing for some, but that's facts, and that's what's going to happen. But again, guys, when we sit down, I would like to meet with you guys. The next thing, what I have mentioned here is like a little budget retreat. You guys, myself and Amanda, to where we can show you kind of what governor's thing will be 23, 24, which looks really good, by the way. I mean, it's very healthy and it's very exciting. But again, remember where our numbers are now. And we're going to be based on what our numbers are now, not pre-COVID. Because pre-COVID, wow, we're sitting good, real good, without having to worry about, cutting here or cutting there. But unfortunately, we're not, when we're down to 330 some kids. Now we're hoping somehow, some way, everybody starts coming back. And I know there've been Mr. Morley, I was talking day before yesterday. This is an unusual year. We've had 75 high schoolers transfer either out of county or out of state. Numbers are tracking, looking at that. And that's an unusual, we've had several to go graduate early. We'll still be able to count those numbers. We've also had several go to Penn Foster. And when the state's pushing to online academies and you're hearing through political worlds, online, homeschool, the best place to educate your child is with us, guys, period. Bottom line. Because of the people we have in those schools that will care and educate the child. That's the best place. And we got to get those people back. And With that being said, I would like for you guys to look at your calendars, see if you can block off some time, possibly next Wednesday. Greg, if it's open out there, if you'll check for me, please. Man, is next Wednesday good for you?
You know, Mr. Hall, the thing about it is, the whole more of the story is, I guess, put it in layman's term, it's not our fault that there might be cuts.
Absolutely not.
It's not the governor's fault.
Absolutely
There
not.
might be cuts. I say it's the fault of people pulling their kids out of public schools.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is.
So your money is funding on numbers. Your numbers are low, there's not as much funding. So if this occurs, it's not the board's fault, it's not Mr. Hall's fault, it's not the governor's fault. The people that's pulling kids and putting them in Penn Foster, going to the online academies, transferring to a different school, that's where it lies.
Yeah.
Not here.
Now, we're not the only system that's facing this. You know, I can probably speak for our neighbors up the road. Their numbers have probably increased some, but they've also added, what they used to have the kindergarten. You know, now all those people are now in kindergarten, which made that class larger, which bumped enrollment up. Well, that's a good thing for them, especially this time, you know, right now. And I think Vickers County's up a little bit, but I know there's several systems that I've spoken with that are down, even some more than us. So it's been a statewide and a nationwide thing, honestly. If you watch some of the news channels and kind of what's going on.
And it's good for people out there to understand, because they don't understand as the public's eyes. They look at what you just said, and there'll be somebody, granted, take what he just said about giving raises. How can they give raises and get rid of people? That's where the public don't understand how the money is allocated. If it is allocated to buy water, you can't buy pop with it. You have to buy water. So, and that's kind of the same
federal
system. So they have to understand that, you know, they think, well, we get all this money and we can buy what we want, spend it where we want, and when we want it. That's not how it works.
No. Anytime we spend any money, number one, it's a requisition, and it'll go through with a supervisor and then to me. And then Ms. Esther will sign off on the PO. I'll sign off on the PO. You guys get a copy monthly of everything, any transaction that comes to what we spend, how we spend it, and what it's spent on.
And the thing about it is, whatever you're spending on, you have to have a line item that has that money in it. So, I mean, there again, you're having to use the money where it's appropriate.
Inside where it is at that time.
And I think that's get to the public to maybe help them understand how it works.
When we meet on Wednesday at Technology, could you just bring the gym plans with you so we can look over them?
Yeah, unless y'all want them
That'd be
earlier.
okay.
Unless you want them earlier to go through them. Like I said, he'll have them here Friday, but I'll bring them with me, absolutely. But if anybody wants them earlier, please come get them.
You're talking about,
The gym plans.
you're talking about next Wednesday?
Next
meeting,
Wednesday,
right?
yes,
At
next
Technology.
Wednesday. And that way we can start looking at some stuff. I'll get Mr. Shannon and Amanda. We can start looking at the 5-year, the construction type of list and everything. We're gonna start looking on and start showing you guys, get ideas. Or, you know, outlay projects, we do outlay project we like that, the counties help us on, and those type of things also too. At that time. 9 o'clock, if you guys are good with that, that's good with you guys.
I know some of the questions that I've been asked regarding that, when there are going to have to be cuts made. For example, if I've been in a supplementary position, and but I've still got tenure, and say I'm an elementary teacher, I'm an elementary certified.
Okay.
It will be based on tenure, right?
Yeah, tenure people is gonna be, yeah. Your tenure.
Right,
You know.
even though I may be doing band or lab or something like that.
Well, that gets into the,
But
yeah.
I had already done elementary beforehand. I mean, it'll be based on the total number of years I have.
Yeah, I would think, and that's the thing, we'll research all the law. You know, we'll get with TEA, we'll get everybody on that. And I hope it don't ever come to that. And, you know how I feel about the music and everything, you know, that's not even been maybe a thought process coming through my head right now, okay?
Right. But it has been.
And I'm sure it's been brought to you guys.
It has.
You know, the way I kind of looked at it was if that was a position, they were in one of those positions and that position was cut and then, or certified somewhere else, then if it's a non-junior position, they can move into that spot. Well, I'm looking, I think, but I will get exactly what it says and get you guys copies of it, get everybody a copy of it, you know, we hope we don't come to those things.
Right, we do,
You know.
but just
Yeah.
just keeping that in mind, you know, like, I'm elementary certified, but I've been doing something else for a couple of years. I would still,
If position open, if there's a position open, absolutely can be moved into that spot. If there's no positions at that time.
but my tenure would.
You, well, that's what we'd have to do and look and see. If that's what I'm saying, that's where you have to look at the law, because I think if the program is cut, don't you say it, the program is cut. Then if they are certified in another area and are tenured, then if everybody in those places are tenured, we'd have to look at seniority, but again, look exactly what law says when absorbing.
You think,
What it says when to absorb, yes, absolutely.
If you and I are in the same situation,
Yeah, we would.
and I've got 8 years experience and you've got 6, I
Yeah.
should get the job,
You
right?
should, but we'll follow the letter of the law of what it
Sure,
says.
okay.
Absolutely.
I just
think
want to be able
everybody-
to assure people that.
To the fullest.
And I think everybody needs to understand that, stress that again, that we don't know if it's gonna be 30, 40 teachers. I mean,
No,
we don't
we've
know.
never gave a number. I know there's some numbers that have been said, but, you know, I can look, if you take it 2.2 million, what was gonna get cut, and you divide that by 60,000, that's 36 spots, okay? Well, it's not gonna be that number we're looking at right now. It's not gonna be there, but it don't always have to be teacher spots. There's areas in there where we can, if so much is here, we can not put as much in this one, or not put as much here, not put as much here. Kind of absorb those things down to save positions, okay? Now, it'll make your budget so tight, so when you get to the end of the year, again, if we go over, that's why we're gonna bring amendments to you guys. And for that situation, you could pull from reserve, because it's gonna be a one-time expenditure, okay? So it'll make a budget tight, but it's okay. We're gonna, like I said, we're committed to saving as much as possible as we can. And I will say that till we are done. And I know you guys, when we sit down and look at things, we'll be in the same boat, the same plan, and the same mindset as far as what we're gonna have. Because I'll be committed to keeping people working and getting jobs. And we've absorbed when we can, you know, and it's been, you know, throughout the years, that'll help some. But again, we stay committed to keep people work. Could we absorb some spots last year? Absolutely. But again, it's getting people out of work, whether it be this year or last year. And we've got some great people out there right now, guys. So we're committed to keeping them as much as we can. Last thing I have, any more questions on that? You guys have anything else? Okay. Last thing I do, I want to congratulate one of our athletes, Mr. Trey Morrow. You guys have been following the Twitter world and radio newspapers. Young man went over 3,000 points. I think when he did that, he was the 23rd player, and I could be giving a wrong number here, in the state of Tennessee that had done this. At our high school, he's the second. Pretty great accomplishment for Little Sky High School. We have some other guys that are close to 3,000. So that's an accomplishment when it comes to the trade, family, that team, and our school. So I know that he's got a game tonight. We're hoping that with a win tonight, we keep going. With the win tonight, they did tie. And I want to say this, they tied the 1981-82 team that I played on with 25 wins. And I hope and pray tonight they get win 26. So that puts them in the sub-state, only the 3rd time in the school history, for the boys basketball. So we're knocking on some things here, guys, that now it's going to be a tough road, tough battle tonight over at Clinton, but it will be a atmosphere that get a chance, guys, get in the car. When we get done here, get on watch the game. So it'll be a fun evening. Again, congratulations to Mr. Morrow. I think he's now moved from 23rd to maybe 18th along the list in there. So we're proud of that accomplishment and hoping that he can continue to at least get, after tonight, at least 2 more games to be played. So that's all I have, guys, unless y'all have questions for me.
Questions? We are a board of distinction, and we've got to do some things to continue that. So I've got a list of things we need to do, and most of them we've already done, like the board retreat, and of course we got to do a board evaluation, plus evaluate our director. And one of the things I'd like for you guys to do, we don't have to spend a lot of time to, is go over the policy book. We need to do that in order to complete this, so.
Yeah, we can do it, but it takes a long
Yeah,
time.
it
So
does.
you gotta look at it and, well,
We've done it, but it does take a long
it
time.
does. Yes, it does.
But I want us to be sure to do this so we can continue to be.
Continue, absolutely.
Do we do that? Do we just meet a day and do that? Is that how that's done in the past?
We
Never done
kind of did it, what you talking about,
The board policies, do we?
we
Broke
usually,
it up in the past.
we
Pardon me?
usually broke it up, did it after work sessions.
Oh,
We'll go through section
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
okay.
those type of things. Now, we'll do what you guys want. Mr. Beatty, can they do it on their own and go through the policies on that and bring any questions to the board about those policies, or do we need to do it here? I'll ask you that question.
I don't know the answer to that. I know in the past, we've always kind of reviewed sections of it, but I don't know how it's been reported to the state after that.
It's on a checklist.
Right here, we have to do a board retreat, which we've done, and we have to attend, like the fall district meeting, percent of our board. I mean, and we've pretty much done all this except.
I think at the very least, that maybe you
Look at some things after some.
well, look at sections and maybe
Any questions?
ask any questions, maybe at the end of this meeting, if there's any questions about section so-and-so, or anything that we need to review.
You guys good with that?
That's fine, or we can divide it up. We can take a certain section, and then a certain section.
But I'll ask, you guys look at it, and
Whichever way.
then I'll ask after board meeting, section 1, section 2, those type of things.
Let us know
You guys,
ahead of
yeah. You
Some of
guys
the
have
sections
questions
are
on
a lot
that?
bigger than others.
Yes.
Right.
So,
I think that's the beauty. If we do that, we can continue to be a
just
board of
acknowledge, or
distinction.
maybe ask the board to review certain sections, and then come back and ask any questions about if any of the policies need to be discussed.
But
That way
anything
you
that we need, I have Sharon to get it, like, we have to do a board evaluation. Make sure you can get that stuff for us. Okay, with that, Mr. Silcox, do you have anything? Ms. Carlene? Ms. Linda? Good job.
Mr. Shannon, does Mr. Reed have the survey ready?
Yes.
Okay.
He's forwarded that to the architect, yes, sir.
Okay. I'll get that.
Have you saw it yet? Have you saw it yet?
He sent me a rough copy to
Okay.
my email,
Okay.
so there is something on
I just wanted to
there.
make sure that it was in final form, because I'll reach out to him and get that. So, okay, that's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Kim?
Since
Thank you,
our
Lisa.
last workshop, I received 2 letters and I made you copies and I want to read them to you. And then Mr. Hall, you tell us what
Well,
needs to be done.
absolutely.
February 18th, 2022. Ms. Kidd, pre-K concern. The main concern is that at some schools, the pre-K teachers and assistants are not getting their duty-free lunches. That is in our memorandum of understanding and breaks. We have spoken with our principal and Ms. Keaton about our concerns. Huntsville has been approved for a substitute for 3 days of the week. Birchville has no one. As a result of the assistants' lacks of breaks and lunch, they are working on average an hour extra a day that they are not getting compensation for, and the teachers are not getting what is in their MOU. This has been going on for several years, and we need it corrected as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll kind of confer with Ms. Keith and Ms. Tanya. Is this facts right here, what they're saying, is this?
Yeah,
what's
usually
happening?
the aides are usually covering that, but I didn't know that the aides were working over their allotted time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Keith, can that be corrected as far as what can be done as far as?
I actually had paid for a sub at Huntsville to help fill in,
Mm-hmm,
but you can't get subs now.
okay. But we could get some stuff, we get some things in place that could alleviate the
And I
problem.
hate that, Miss Kim, because they've not ever come and said anything to me.
Well, like I said, I've got this
And
letter.
I hate that. I wish
that's
they
my
would have
first
said,
one,
Miss
too,
Tanya,
yeah.
this is happening.
Okay.
Okay.
And when I was able to find a sub for Huntsville for a little while, about half of this year, I did mention that to Birchfield pre-K teachers. And they didn't seem to have a lot of concern at that time.
Okay.
But I understand when you have to take your students to lunch and, you know, I remember the day when I used to have to sit and eat lunch with them and teach them those kinds of things. But, you know, everybody kind of wants a duty-free lunch where there's peace and their breaks and things like that. But right now, it's just been really, really hard.
So what are we gonna do if we can't find a sub?
Well, that's, well,
And we
we
can't
can
find
see.
subs.
I'll sit down with Miss Tanya, Miss Keaton, and we'll see what kind of thing we can do.
We had to, when they had the SPDIC training the other day with Miss Debbie out at technology, we had to leave the kids at home because they could not find, that was 9 teachers that needed a sub. And then the next training they have, it's not only the teachers, but it's the teacher assistants that has to go too. Is that
If
right?
they want to come.
Okay.
It has
if they
to be the teachers, but it is open to the assistants. If they want to come, because pre-K teachers and assistants have to have so much training every year that we have to turn into the State Department. And sometimes it's hard to get that training, that professional development, so the state did open it up if the assistants want to come to help them get their training for the next year.
And that's not something that can be done on the half days or?
In this
Or really
grant, the
says
state
it's all
requires,
day.
it's an all day from 8 to 3.
And they could not find subs, so it's not the best thing to do. But we just had to leave those students at home.
I think the only option you got is either give them free break or pay them.
It's true.
Only 2 options you got. What do you think?
And especially
I'll
looking at
give
the
you
number
a
of students that leave
yeah.
at 1:30 in that pre-K when they not need.
Yeah.
That is true. There is a lot. And they can have a larger pupil-teacher ratio during the nap time, after the 1:30, after several of them.
All the federal guidelines are followed in the grant as far as with all that. Okay. Yeah, I'll sit down with them. We'll see what can be done. Okay.
The second letter I received. We would like to ask a favor from the board members. When the time comes to hand out the annual pink slips that Mr. Murley or whoever may be delivering them this year, do it in a professional and courteous manner by not abruptly interrupting a teacher's instruction time to give the news and get their signature. At the very least, it should be done privately, not in front of students. From experience, this is a devastating and it will destroy the morale for the rest of the school year. When you have to deliver this type of news, it should be handled in the most professional way possible and with little empathy to those who have worked hard all school year long. We have new teachers here that are really devastated and in tears by news, so hopefully with your help, the ultimate delivery of possible job loss could be handled in a professional way. Thank you to all our board members for what you are doing and being our voice of support.
What we'll have to do is we sit down and we look as far as, you know, I can recall a time where when I say every non-tenured person used to get the letter. Okay?
Yes.
That was always, and maybe there's not all, when you're doing it to everybody, it's non-tenured. It's really hard sometimes when one person or 2 people may be doing it to do that situation. We'll do our best, try not to make sure we don't interrupt the class. That we'll have to get planning periods. Once we get a list, once I sit down and look is what, and I'll say that I would say 99.9% of the people that I've given the sheet to, or the non-renewal notice, we brought back for the most part. I think maybe a situation, like I said, 1 or 2, but very few that we've sent these out. They should be different. Like I said, right now we don't know, but we'll do our best to make sure it's done in a professional manner, to make sure that it's try to be done privately the best we can, and that knowing, because teacher has to sign, principal signs, then it always comes back to me. So, we'll do our best, to make sure it's done in a proper professional manner. Nobody likes getting that. I mean, I've been non-tenured in 2 different systems. So I used to get it every year, when I was teaching on night, I got it till I was tenured. And when I came to Scott, I got my non-tenure notice until I was, tenured there. So, we will do our best, as far as that. And those are done in case you ever do have to make cuts or things of that nature. And that's one reason. And also at the end of every year, I take recommendations from principals. If there's someone that maybe is not doing what needs to be done as an educator, that we don't bring back. Nobody likes doing that.
And how are they notified then if you're not gonna bring them?
I don't have, once they get the notice, I don't have to say nothing. Non-tenure, you do not have to say nothing. That's law, okay? You do not, once you give a non-renewal notice, no explanation has to be given if the job's not brought back.
But I mean, like when those are handed out, that's not like I'm teaching at 10 o'clock and then I've got the whole rest of the day to teach knowing that.
Yes, it's done in the school day. It is done in the school day. I mean, because that's when they're there. I mean, and, it has to be done, I think, by May, sometime May, when
But
we
it's
do
for the
these.
following year. It's
Yeah,
not.
so it's not right now on the spot,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
It goes for the next year. Like I said, it used to be probably up till 12, 13 years ago. Every non-tenured person got a letter.
It was on the board minutes. You would have a list of the people that didn't get renewed.
Yeah.
You would have a board meeting every year where it was just multiple pages.
And back before it was an appointed superintendent, the board had to do the hiring on it, the ones that they wanted to bring back or didn't. Once the budget and stuff was in place and done from there. But, we're committed, like I said, to bring back as many as we can. But no, we don't have, once we give the non-renewal notice, by law, you don't say anything else. What that says is on June 30th, the contract is terminated. Okay? If we're bringing them back, principal will call, tell them what, we'll bring them back, put them in place, and then we're good to go. But if not, they don't get the notice, then, yeah, they can be.
So Bill,
Yes.
Tenure is on like when they're starting their 6th year, then they're tenured the past 5.
Well, not necessarily anymore now, Kim. Now it goes on your score. Once you get to years 5, after you finish 5 years, on year 4 and 5, they have to be either a 4 or a 5 through the entire evaluation process. Okay? Now what I guess now is considered old tenure. Once I think it was year 4 back then? Once you go through and you're hired for the 4th year, you're tenured. And once you're tenured unless you literally mess things up yourself. Now, with the new tenure laws, you can receive tenure, and there is a list on there that, we're going to have for this meeting of people that will be given tenure. Once they receive tenure, if they are score a 1 or a 2 consecutive years, they can lose tenure. Okay? Old tenure cannot lose tenure. New tenure can lose tenure. Okay? That can be done. We have some people probably been in the system 10 years and outstanding great teachers. Okay? And I know the ones that they are, and they may not be a 4 or 5, 2 consecutive years, but we know the work they're putting in. We know what's happening, and there's a reason why they're not sometimes. And most time, at no fault to them, but just because of the way that's written, they're not tenured. Those people we're going to bring back because we know now once they're eligible for tenure, we must either grant them tenure or non-renew, not bring them back once they're eligible. That's how it reads now. Okay, so yeah, the laws changed. Some states don't have tenure. We do, which is a good thing for protection. But the new law here now, I guess, if you got somebody, they get tenure and they get lax and lazy and then decide I'm not working anymore, they can lose tenure.
Wasn't that changed? It's not too awful long ago.
Yeah, it was
A few
probably,
years ago.
yes, when would you think, 6? Has it been 6 years or probably longer than that, I guess, hasn't it?
I think what year that was.
I can't remember exactly.
Was it Braden's whole year?
Was it whose?
Braden's.
Bredesen, when we went in with Haslam?
It was early.
So maybe
Was it
10, I was starting to say,
2000.
I think we started going into place about when I came in, I've been about 11 years ago, I think, when I came in here, so, yeah, it's been a while. Yes, Ms. Kim, we'll do our best.
Okay, do you have anything else, Kim? How about you, Lou? Derek? Thank you, everybody. We can go home.
Next